Here we go, another episode of British Business, The Bottom Line. We've got Charlie here. How are you, Charles?
I'm right, maybe you forgot the intro.
I've not forgotten. I was going to do that afterwards.
Shit. Well, if you only just started the countdown timer to recording this and given me a minute, we could have discussed what you were planning on doing.
Welcome to British Business, The Bottom Line. Every week, me and Matt sit down to talk about the real stuff, the news affecting your business, the lessons we've learned the hard way, and the things nobody tells you when you're running your own show. Whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for years, this one's for you. I'm Charlie Smith.
And I'm Matt Holland.
Let's get into it.
There it is.
Sorry, what were you moaning about?
Oh, I wasn't moaning about nothing. I was just moaning about the fact that you didn't really give me any chance to. You were going to start recording then. I wasn't even sat in frame. You'd have just been chatting to yourself.
I was ready to.
Mind you, if you spent a couple of minutes chatting to yourself, it'd probably be better, wouldn't it?
In what way?
Better for you.
What, a bit of therapy.
You'd be able to get some stuff off your chest.
There we are, yeah. So, what's crack-a-lacking?
Not a lot, mate. It's only been about 3 minutes since we finished recording the last one.
Why are you doing us like that? Don't be saying that.
You changed your look though. You put a cap on. we could make out it's week 2 of your holiday, couldn't we?
There we are. Yeah, I forgot to change.
How's your holiday been, mate?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. How are you keeping on with your what was it? Your content,
social media content. Yeah, I've been really like on it. I've been really consistent with it. Yeah, I've posted quite a few times. Like every day I've posted on one of the accounts. So yeah,
amazing. Well done, mate.
Why does no one watch us on YouTube, Matthew?
Because we need to upload short form content, I think, as well.
You reckon?
The algorithm. Yeah. And I think your mate, who doesn't know my name, says chapters are going to save us. That's the thing.
Jack reckons chapters are going to save us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If there's anyone out there that thinks, this is the reason I don't watch you on YouTube, then let us know. Let us know in the comments, either on YouTube or Spotify. I don't mind.
Yeah, I think on YouTube, it's potentially a different viewer.
Maybe.
I don't know. Not sure.
Maybe we just don't know enough about it.
I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I watch the Wednesday Waffle on
from our mate Jacob.
From Jacob Lockwood. Yeah,
guy. That is a guy that's consistent on social media. Oh. And I think he reaps rewards for it as well.
Yeah, I think he's built a very good following. Yeah, Jacob's an interesting chap, isn't he?
I don't want to blow any more smoke up his arse because we always do that anyway. We probably need some more friends.
Oh dear. Episode 72. What we'd tell ourselves 5 years ago.
Oh, that's exciting, that isn't.
We've done a similar episode to this. I think I asked it as a question of the week on one of the episodes we'd done for earlier in the year, but I just thought, given how hard it is at the moment and how hard it's been, like how we feel about that kind of topic.
What we tell ourselves as opposed to what we would do is quite a different question though, right?
Well, I think if you could have a conversation with yourself from 5 years ago, there's a fly that's just flown in my caravan, bastard. I need a bug assault. Do you know what a bug assault is?
Yeah, don't you sell those?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, like
plugging them, just like they just shoot bits of salt, don't they?
Yeah, for people listening, it's like a pump action shotgun, but shoots salt, murders flies. It's great.
I got one of those electric bats here, like a tennis racket. It's bloody great. It is. But you do look a right silly prick when you're running around the kitchen trying to fucking swap things like this whilst pressing hold of the button. They are good fun.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, what I was saying was, so what we'd tell ourselves 5 years ago, I was framing it from a perspective of if we were in a situation.
Still running in my end. Hello, everyone. Welcome to British Business with just Charlie Smith at the moment because Matt is sitting in the middle of a fucking field again. And he's trying to work out. Oh, he's back now. I didn't say anything bad.
How long did you manage?
Starlink, mate. Starlink's doing you over here.
Yeah.
Elon has got a lot to answer for today. But you were explaining in the break that that's all because the download speed is very good on a Starlink, but the upload speed isn't.
That is very true. So we've had some technical issues. But...
And we said, what's the answer to that? And we said there isn't one.
Yeah, I don't think there is one yet. Or we aren't educated enough to answer that.
No. Maybe we should ask our mate Claude.
Perhaps, yeah. How can Starlink solve their low upload speed? What's the problem? Anyway, episode 72. What we'd tell ourselves 5 years ago. That's where we were at. So the kind of the logic and the framing around it is like, do you think it's harder now than it was 5 years ago, or do you think 5 years ago was harder? Have you got a lot of experience now that you think you'd be able to lend to yourself from 5 years ago? And for people listening, I'd like you to think about that as well. Like, think about your journey with business and entrepreneurship, where you were 5 years ago with it and where you are now. What have you learned? And what that experience has been like, because I think sometimes actually perspective can really help you on solving the problems that you're facing right now, and actually taking a moment to appreciate how far you've come can help you go, right, well, actually, I've done a lot in that period. So this little hump in the road, if you like, definitely overcome that. This cash flow challenge, this HR problem, whatever it might be, you can definitely.
None of us do that enough, do we, either?
No.
We really don't. We end up beating ourselves up over and over again, don't we, all the time, in the moment that you're currently living in. You always feel like you've not done enough, or you're not doing enough, or you're not doing well enough at this. We do that all the time. Well, look, I can only speak for me, but to be fair, the conversation I've had with you, and we do that all the time. We never sit and reflect and think, God, what were we doing 5 years ago? So to throw that straight back at you, like 5 years ago, we're coming out of a pandemic, man. I don't even know how we got through I don't know how I got through the year. But we did it, and we actually did it with a smile on our face as well, believe it or not.
We were in like mega challenges, or the challenges were starting from. We basically just grew too quick. That's the problem. We were just growing too fast, and we were entering a period of hard work, that 12, 18 months that followed the 5 year ago point. And I think me as an entrepreneur and a business owner, I've developed myself personally massively over that 5 year period. And I think if I were dealing with a set of challenges from 5 years ago, I would have navigated them so much more easier. But also it's kind of like pain passes. Do you know what I mean? Like, you kind of go through hard times and you get through the other side and it gets better. And then it's like but it's good to remind yourself of those hard challenges, because you're like, well, without them, you don't really appreciate the good times, in my opinion.
You wouldn't, without going through it as well, you wouldn't have known how to deal with it again for the second time, would you? So it's like, you have to go through it to then be able to sit there and reflect and say, oh, if I went back, I'd be able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
And relatively, like, the challenges that I face today are all positive challenges. Do you know what I mean? This time 5 years ago, we were moving into a rented warehouse that was going to cost us the best part of 120 grand a year to run, as in business rates and rent. This year, we're buying a big warehouse or another big warehouse. Do you know what I mean? So it's funny how things change in a 5 year cycle.
Yeah, two massive periods of time, right? Two massive differences across a period of time, which is a measly 5 years. Which in a business sense is not a long time, is it?
No, it's not.
There's a quote out there that says, who is it? It said businesses can quite often overestimate what they can achieve in a year, but underestimate what they can achieve in 10.
Yeah,
and it's like that is, yeah. And I think it might have been stolen from like Bill Gates or something.
It's all of it's stolen, but I know it from Sinclair.
But
not everything Sinclair says. I mean, like, every quote ever is stolen because it's all been said before. That's what I mean. Just in case.
But it is certainly true. But to your point, we don't ever sit back and think back, do we?
No, not.
But that being said, it's bloody hard right now. It is hard. But I personally, going back 5 years, it might have been a challenge to run a business at the time because of the economic circumstances that we faced and the uncertainty we faced, which is a once in a lifetime or once in a generational thing, is it not? but my life was different back then.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't the same sort of cost pressures from a personal standpoint. There wasn't. I didn't have any kids. I've got 3 now. So it's like it's a massive difference personally. So I think it's all relative. It's all different. It's all like based on your own personal circumstances about how difficult a time might be. But we definitely don't take enough time to sit and reflect and think about where it was even this time last year, to be honest with you, do we?
No, we don't. Should we have British Business
But
Facts of the Week?
I'd probably tell myself that I need to set up for these moments, though. You mentioned it on the last episode, didn't you? How in the good times, not necessarily planning for bad, but kind of being aware of things that are going to happen 12 to 18 months down the line and 24 months down the line.
Yeah. You can't. It's a very difficult one though for business owners, that, because you want to seize opportunity. You're an opportunity seeker, and by definition and nature, you want to go and push it. But what happens if but you can only take so many risks before one goes not your way.
Yeah.
What's Hannah saying?
Nothing. There's a DHL driver outside. I don't know if he's going to knock our door, but Ted's sat on the sofa just staring out.
Getting ready.
He's literally getting ready. Is he coming to us? I don't think he's coming to us.
What breed is Ted?
Ted's a fox red Labrador.
One of those like designer colours.
Aren't you, boy? Ted?
How old is he?
Can we see him? Can you see him, yeah?
No.
There he is.
I can't see him.
Is that?
I can see his little nostrils, yeah.
Hey. He's 7. You're 7 years old, aren't you, boy?
Harry's 9, bless him.
Pre-lockdown baby.
Or is he 10? I think Harry's 10.
Yeah, we've really gone off on a tangent here, haven't we?
Yeah.
Bring us back, baby.
British Business Facts of the Week. Avid Panda. Have you ever heard of Avid Panda? They're a publisher, apparently. Anyway, according to a company let's start that again. We always get it wrong now and again, don't we? I'm not very good at reading off my auto cue.
That's the dyslexia.
Yeah. According to a Companies House analysis by Avid Panda published in November 2025, almost 40% of UK businesses incorporated between January 2020 and December 2024 have already closed.
What?
That's a savage statistic, is it not? Jesus.
Christ.
So 40% of new companies that were set up between January 2020 and December 2024 have already been closed as of November 25.
There was a fact about that recently about the number of closures, wasn't there? Was there not? I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was stats at that earlier on in the year.
Here's the second part of it. And ONS data shows that just 40% of UK small businesses are still trading after 5 years. The average lifetime of a UK failed startup is 2.94 years. So basically, if you're under that 2.94 years, so if you're under 3 years, you need to fucking work hard because
you need to knuckle down.
Yeah, you need to fucking knuckle down because you're in the gnarly bit. It takes a lot to overcome that statistic. You've got a 60%.
Why do you think that is, then?
Well, it's fucking hard, isn't it? Like, why would someone want to run a business in the UK now? Because they love pain and suffering.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that in the last episode. It's like, we were talking about the comments from the reel and stuff that we posted, but like, fair play, we do choose this life, don't we?
We do, yeah. So, and like, I had a little whinge about having to pay a tax bill in January. I'm just like, it's money that the business has paid turnover tax on, then we paid corp tax on, and then I've got to pay personal tax on it. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake. But then at the same time, if you're paying tax, is it a sign of success? Yes, probably. So maybe I should be grateful that I'm paying the tax. I don't know.
I think we're all happy to pay a bit, aren't we? Maybe we're not right. Maybe we're not. We're just not so keen on the levels. We're not so keen on when it comes. Pre-tax, pre-profit. Sorry, turnover taxes. It's just difficult, isn't it?
It's about the proportionate, I suppose, cost of the tax against the risk. That's the thing that annoys me. Like the difference between the PAYE thresholds for personal tax and then the dividend thresholds. There's not much in it anymore. We're not a million miles off it. So, yeah, I don't know. Not overly happy. But so you've got that. So you've got your personal remuneration, but then like just business is hard, which is the first episode of this podcast we ever did, me and Tom, and it's not easy.
No, it's still not. It ain't going to get any easier. Like we said, for the next 12, 18 months, it's going to get harder before it gets easier. And I don't know whether it'll ever be easy. I mean, obviously, with changing governments and changing manifestos, things change, don't they? The circumstances which you're operating in, the climate you're operating in will change. And ultimately, things will get better or things will get different. They might not get any better, but they certainly will get different. But, it's just one of those things you just got to kind of deal with, isn't it, and get on with. But I think it's a sad fact about the amount of closures, right? I think that's surely we want risk, we want new, we want shiny, we want people to be innovative, we want people to change things. I mean, I can't sit here and say I'm innovative, just do things that people have done for bloody years.
No,
but
I disagree.
I want someone to be like that,
You'll be doing some things differently. Definitely your marketing, your social media. I think you're unique in that sense. You've got your own identity. Your customer experience will be different to other people working with other embroidery firms. So, yeah, I think you're. I wouldn't have to sell yourself there. And I think we've innovated within our little niche space. We've not applied like anything unique to the e-com. We have done some pretty unique stuff, to be fair, but we're not revolutionising the wheel. But we are innovating to a certain degree. And I think the problem with the type of politics that business owners face in the UK today is like we need to incentivise. It's not about the current business owners. It's about the future of business and the fact that we need another round of entrepreneurial people to enter the market and take a punt. And the problem is it's so complex and you're facing odds like that. Like, I worry about the UK and the fact that I'm sure there will be, obviously business will carry on, but it's not easy. And the problem, the thing that annoys me is the fact that there's so many good ideas sat out there. Like if you ask Jacob Lockwood about some business ideas, like the guy has got a lot of business ideas, but the challenge is you can only operate one, obviously, but it's the cost, it's the money of bringing these ideas to fruition. But how many other people out there, creative people out there, that have got like great ideas about products, businesses? Maybe it's something a bit more simple, like a coffee shop or whatever. That's their vision and their dream, like what Simon Squibb talks about. And I think it's very sad. I think it is very sad that we face a statistic like that, because the government needs to incentivize people to take risks on entrepreneurial activity. And
do you think? Go on, it infuriates you. Sorry, I cut you right off then. Just I thought you were finishing.
I was just finishing, and I think it's very rude of you. Bless you.
I was going to follow up a question. I thought my timing would be impeccable, but it was actually proper shit. But I was basically going to say to you, do you think any? I don't want to use the word blame, but do you think any of it can be attributed to the individuals setting up the businesses? Can anything be attributed to generational work ethic? Do you think there's a common kind of misconception that if you start your own business, you're kind of automatically going to be really well off and it's going to be easy? And what do you think?
I've always been super driven and hungry. Always. That's always been there. But I've also been very naive at times and inexperienced. In my 20s, that was definitely me. I'm 36 this year, and Matthew of 29, 30, very different. Matthew of 36 would eat Matthew of 29 for breakfast. Do you know what I mean? Like just knowledge and experience, everything. So I think if you think about a business owner first getting started, irrespective of age, you're still starting from zero from a business perspective. And there's so much knowledge that you have to accumulate to be successful in business. And there's so much failure you have to go through as well. I think, yeah, it's a tough road. And I just worry that there's not enough people being given the opportunity to have a go at it. Do you know what I mean? Because it is have a go. And it's like the whole personal guarantee thing as well. Like So I've just had to sign a big personal guarantee, or I'm about to. I mentioned it before, and it's like, well, I am taking a risk as a business, but then now it extends beyond that
Yeah.
business into me personally. And it's like, right, okay, so what some people would choose not to take that risk, which then de-incentivize risk taking and entrepreneurial growth. So there'd be some people that would just go, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing it. End
And
of.
that's it. Dead in the water. Idea stops. Doesn't continue.
Sad. It's sad. So to frame this back in, have you got anything to add to that?
No, I think like when you're looking at people starting businesses, though, you're gonna have a lot of people that are like, I don't know, sole trader-ish, aren't they? Or sole trader. They've been working for someone for a long time and they want to start on their own. You'll get a lot of people then, I think, in those numbers that will be like, okay, this is probably not what I thought it was. I'm going to go back to working for somebody else. So, a lot of those kind of, I don't think, it's not necessarily just, we've this unique startup, we've taken on a load of funding and we've gone bust like, those that hit the headlines alike. But ultimately, it's difficult for people in whatever industry they go into to try and make it on their own, right? And that's the reason why a lot of these closures are happening. So it all does come back to the same sort of thing, that actually doing it is bloody hard for whatever reason that might be, and that's the reason why so many are closing. But I just think it could be a combination of all of them. I think you've got to put some serious ass effort into it to get anything off the ground, haven't you?
Yeah,
and you've got to do a lot of business
anyway.
before you keep any.
Yeah. So to be a bit more specific, just to get into like detailed things of looking back on that 5-year period, is there anything that really particularly stands out for you, like failings? So I made some notes there to say like, is there any like hires that you wish you'd made sooner during that 12-month period? Is there any?
Yeah, I think I've said that before.
Or the flip side, like, is there anyone that you should have fired sooner? And you obviously can't be specific about that. Or like, is there a supplier or a business partner that you stayed loyal to past the point of usefulness? And obviously, I would hope you wouldn't mention the word Tom, because Tom is great, by the way. But is there anything that springs to mind of any of those things?
No, I just wish I'd have been. I wish I'd have had this same sort of fire and energy earlier.
Where does that fire and energy come from now? Then why has it all of a sudden happened?
I don't know. I find that really hard to. Find that hard to reflect on. Like 5 years ago, I think if I was to say take 5 years ago, I felt like I had loads of time. Not necessarily time in my day to day, but time in life. So, we were running the business, but we weren't like breaking down any doors or anything. It wasn't fantastic, and we didn't really have a great idea. But because I was like, I don't really know what I want us to look like now. I'm kind of just okay, just kind of like milling through, which is a bit weird. So I almost like felt like I had loads of time ahead of me, and that the bright idea and the bright spark would come. It'll come. We'll work it out, but we're okay at the moment. Let's just see how it goes for another little bit of time. I'm sure something will come to us. And then we're almost like forced into doing something with when the pandemic come along. And then if I fast forward that on now, leaning on my changes in my family life and stuff, and the changes in my personal circumstances, and like all of a sudden, I'm nearly 35 now. And for some reason, I don't feel like I've got loads of time. It has to be done now.
I think there's a big change when you hit your 30s and you have kids.
Yeah, that it never existed to me before that.
I think I had the drive and the ambition. I always had that, but I didn't.
I had it working for someone else.
I felt frustrated and stressed about things because we weren't moving quick enough. That's what it felt like. I was like verging on depression at times. Like I felt down because I wasn't where I wanted to be, and yeah, it's hard. I think when you're in that kind of.
I get those moments now.
Yeah,
I get those moments now.
Yeah,
it's very much up and down like a roller coaster. I think
you got to learn to be patient. That's the key. That's the thing that I learned in 21 through to this point. These last 5 years was learn to be patient, and I've realised that really. And I think there's been hires that I should have made sooner. We should have hired Danny sooner, as an example, or someone like Danny. We hired people in a similar role, but maybe we could have done that sooner. Just take away a lot of the day-to-day operational stuff. But then what happens is you remove that, and then as the entrepreneurial person, you then find a load more problems to fix or pursue, opportunities. So the pressure just continues. It doesn't just disappear. It's not easier. It's different. You're like, if you all of a sudden didn't have to hire and fire operational staff for the embroidery machines, you would fill that time with other things. Like that's what you and Tom would do. So it's all relative. I mean, there's so many learnings, people, cash flow, all those things. But if we kind of keep it at a high level, I think just like when you think about like money mistakes and stuff like that, have you ever spent a load of money on something that you really wish you hadn't within the business?
Say that again, mate, because you just broke up a little bit there.
I was just saying, when like from a money perspective, like making mistakes with money and cash within the business, have you ever spent money on something within the business that you wish you could undo? Like whether it's like bad equipment, vanity marketing, investing in something, some kind of equipment that, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we first started off on the old clothing journey, we definitely did. We spent 10 grand on a piece of kit, which we've hardly ever used, and it's literally just gone to waste now.
Yeah.
So I think that was almost like a rush thing. So we were in the early days of like working out how to print, what to print on. And to be honest with you, we're a lot more patient now as a result of that mistake. And also a lot more wise in our choices, I think, as well, in terms of what we outsource and also how long it takes us to make a decision to jump into like kind of doing some of that stuff in house, if you know what I mean.
Do you know two guys just on the note of being wise, and you say that you buy a piece of equipment, the people that strike me as being very wise are the guys at Dispatch Bros. I think they've been through a lot of changes and evolution within that business, and Strings Direct and stuff like that. They're well weathered. Not that they've had problems, but do you know what I mean? Like, I suspect, do you know what I mean? They seem steady. Do you know what I mean? And I think what you're saying is you just become a little bit less when you're younger in your business journey. So it's not about age, but when you're less experienced, you can be a bit more eager to move.
Yeah,
quickly.
definitely.
And
yeah.
The problem with that is the likelihood of failure increases when you do.
I think that's a definite. That definitely corresponds to me for sure.
But then you'd learn to be a bit more measured.
I
mean, I still
get moments where I'm like, fucking hell, yeah, let's do that, or let's do that. I get it all the time, but ultimately, it doesn't take you very long to like just think, hang on a minute, just zen out a little bit, let's chill out, let's have a little think. What does this really look like? How much is it going to cost? What happens if it goes wrong? What's our fallback here, etc., etc. Whereas beforehand, it'd be like, nah, get it. Let's get it in here. Let's start doing that. That'd be great if we can do that without looking at all the alternative options. Do you know what I mean?
That's the single biggest hack that I've found, I would say, is that kind of like steady Eddie mindset on, I've made a decision what I do, I'm going to have a think about it. And often what happens now is before I bring something to the board in terms of an idea or an opportunity, I've already gone through that process.
Yeah.
Whereas what used to happen is I would bring ideas to the table when they weren't really very well refined.
Yeah.
So I've obviously that's the nature of a family business. So I have to, if I want to do something, I have to come up with the idea and the concept, think about it, work out if it's tangible, bring it to the table, get board sign off, and then start to work on it. Whereas in the past, I would have an idea, go straight to the board, and go like, "Let's do this," and they'd be like, "Yeah, okay,
keen as mustard."
And then we just start working on it. We'd make mistakes, and it was sloppy. So now things are just a bit more measured. So the quality of the ideas are better as well, that make it to implementation.
But is it as exciting?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. Because
okay, cool.
I think it's just in a more managed way. It's like
it's
more steady, if that makes sense. God, I mean, it feels exciting. I mean, before we hopped on recording last week's episode and this week's episode, I'm dealing with something at the moment where someone's reacted in an unpredicted way to something, not within the business, a third party, and it's like, okay, this will be interesting. There's always excitement. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
You were quite mellow when you were discussing that as well.
What do you mean?
Or not quite as like backup as I thought you would have been when you were
Well,
talking about it.
the interesting thing with stuff,
Very much, very raw as well, isn't it? It was
Yeah,
very,
yeah, yeah.
it was like very in the,
So
listen to that in the moment, or see,
that's a key learning, and I can't say what it's about, but basically, like if you're in a situation where you have an idea or a plan and you just rush into it, that's when you're more likely to get side blinded by something like what's just happened today. But actually, I was expecting this as a possible outcome, so I'm already prepared for it. So the entity that we're dealing with, they're kind of cooked. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not. We're 3 steps ahead, which is maybe an arrogant position, but we've taken advice and we know where we're at, and we know we're right, and we can crack on with our plan, and it's going to happen. But they're just not happy about it, and it's like, well, tough shit. You know what I mean? That comes with experience. Whereas I've done similar things in the past without knowing the possible scenarios and then been burnt.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is there any habits that you've had as a founder, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, business partner? Is there any habits that you've had that you think have held you back?
Have you got one?
I've not really thought of. I think a negative habit that I've had that's held me back is the fact that I, at times, have not given people the space to grow themselves, and I've been too dominant. And what I've learned to do is to give people the space to fail a little bit. So the negative habit was kind of being overbearing and micromanaging, which I still am a bit of a micromanager. I'm sure Danny will attest to that. But I think it's just I'm a person of detail, and I don't view that as a bad habit. But it potentially will hold me back from the next round of growth, and I need to try and become less and less of that. And that's part of the reason why I'm in the caravan now, is to try and remove myself from the shit I shouldn't be getting involved in. So that's a negative habit that I have.
I think I did the similar sort of thing for, very much operating in the weeds in the day-to-day for far too long.
But what happens
when I say far too long, we've only been doing this for like 5 years. So it's like, we're 5 into 6 years, but I'm talking like probably for, if it's 6 years, I've done that for 5. Do you know what I mean? Or if it's 5 years, I did that for 4. But I think that comes from being quite often a little bit too safe. Because I often attribute some of my stuff, talk about it. I think I have those moments where I think, God, you know what? You are not very entrepreneurial at all, because you're not jumping at risk on the daily. Yeah, you're not laying it all out on the line. And I think I am quite conservative sometimes with some of the decisions that we make, or decisions we've made over, in the past. But at the same time, still, for some reason, still being quite driven to succeed, but maybe, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Does that make sense or not?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. But to bring it back to like a specific habit, is there anything that stands out to you that you've been habitual in behaviour or attitude towards something that actually held you back looking back?
Only just trying to do things all myself.
Yeah.
Which I think is habitual.
Like things like, for example, like maybe being obsessive over something too much. So it might be like tracking the wrong numbers from a KPI perspective, or
I've always been shit at that anyway. So,
but something the equivalent of, like for me, an example would be maybe I've been too obsessive about a particular KPI or particular analytical point, and actually you need to have a bit more of a big picture approach, and that's maybe a bad habit of mine.
I'm probably the opposite then. I've probably got too much of a big picture approach and not enough detail approach.
Lack of detail, right? Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So I'd say so. I don't think there's anything I don't know about what's going on in my business.
Yeah.
Whether that be it is happening more and more at the moment, whereby I am, I don't necessarily know what's going through the production. I have quite a good idea. But there might be a time where I get a phone call and I've got absolutely no idea I pick up the phone, I've got no idea what the other person's talking about. But it's already been dealt with, which I think I see as a real positive. But for many years, I'd fucking know everything. I'd know every email that come through on an email box. I'll know to run past and check with someone because I've seen it and taken attention to it.
So,
and I think I'm probably focusing on some of the wrong things there.
question for you. The version of you from 5 years ago, would you hire him? And if you would, what job role would you assign him?
Of course, I'd hire him.
No, but like seriously, would you hire him? Was his skill set good enough? What
Who,
job
me?
role? Yeah, you. If you were to hire the version of you from 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think I would, but I think I'd put me on the road as a sales rep.
Interesting. Why?
Because I'd be able. I'm quite confident when it comes to confident in my own ability to build relationships with people and sell our wares.
I would hire myself as well. I'd back myself, but I would bring that person in
As a warehouse picker.
He was fucking good at picking. He was way better than any of the other.
He was so good at picking.
So good. No, not picking, packing. Rob's
Packing,
better than
sorry.
me. Rob's the OG when it comes to pack.
Is he?
Rob is the OG at picking. Yeah.
Hang on. What's the difference? Explain to me why that. Before you go on and finish your point. Why are you better at packing and he's better at picking? Explain that to me, please.
He's smaller than me. He's more nimble.
Right, so he could get around the place and be like this.
Yeah. He's quicker. He's a little bit. Yeah.
Did he also know where some of the bins were before he even needed to be told where they were? Was he able to be like, 118003? I know exactly where that is. That's down here on the left, third one up. And
he was good, Robert, but he's been trained by me, so he should be good. Do you know what I mean?
Get out of here. Why are you better at packing?
I like to think I'm better at packing, but I just used to go for that job because it was easier, so I did it for longer.
Is that because you could just stand at one bench?
Yeah, stand at one bench and just pack and dictate orders and shout and scream. But going back to if I was to hire myself, I would probably put him in some kind of like ideation business development role where his job was to come up with innovative ideas to solve problems in the business. So whether that's ops or any area of the business, systemization, improvement, that kind of stuff. But I would closely watch him.
You would you? Keep an eye?
I would have to closely watch him.
So you wouldn't classify yourself as an SEO expert back then 5 years ago?
I was pretty knowledgeable, but not as knowledgeable as I am now. But
how long had you been trading online for? If we're going back 5 years.
Well, I've been in the business 12 years, so I've done 7 years at that point. And I mean, the business, like the trading business, has been online since 2001. So quite a long period of time. But I joined the business in 2014 when it was doing about 180 grand a year.
And you were trading online then?
Yeah, but we were doing 3 shows a week as well.
Shows so go on 7 years.
7 years, and then we would have been.
You reckon most of your knowledge in the online world has come in the last 5?
7. So going back 5 years, we would probably have been doing maybe like £4 million turnover, something like that. And the way we got there was I think, like proper entrepreneurial, just like making decisions and going for it, and making mistakes. But what was your question?
Don't know.
No, but
about being an SEO expert, I said, you wouldn't classify. So like when you started talking then, I was thinking, well, online business, quite successful. Maybe what he's going to tell me is that actually 5 years ago, I was probably ahead of the curve when it comes to how you set up online, how you sell online. But that would be what you would classify as your expertise at that point.
But a lot of that advantage that we had back then was just purely to do with the things that Google valued at the time. So at the time, Google valued domain history and the fact that you'd been online for a bit, and it was all about helpful content. So it was all about, and Google didn't publish at the time, but it was all about the websites needed to be helpful for the consumer. It's always been about that, to be frank, but it was really about that. And Mark did a really good job at the time of developing a really good website that functioned reasonably well. This is going back longer. This is going back we went on to Shopify in 2017. We've been on Shopify for 9 years, but then I would say 2019 is when we probably started really focusing on SEO as a topic. But Mark was aware of it, and I started learning about it because Mark had some pretty interesting ideas about SEO. And for me to be able to challenge him, because I just felt this doesn't make any sense. So I then started to read and learn about it. And then it got to the point where my knowledge, I would say, was better than his. And then I wanted to bring agencies in to support us, and I learned from them. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty knowledgeable. I would say I've got my 10,000 hours in SEO, but the less and less I do it now, and less I'm involved in it, SEO's changed massively during that period as well. I think it's really it's become less important. The foundations and the fundamentals are important. But once you've got those boxed off, you're sailing a stable ship. Do you know what I mean? And at that point, it's about longevity and time. But yeah, I would put myself in business development in terms of like problem solving right now, because I think I would do really well at that, and then I would just closely monitor me, because I think I'd be pushing things forward very aggressively. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Should we do Claude's question of the week? I'm just rereading it because it's quite a good one. If you could only undo one business decision from the last 5 years, but the trade-off was you also had to undo one win from the same period, would you still do it?
Say again?
So if you could only undo one business decision from the last 5 years, so probably a mistake, I would presume, but the trade-off, so if you could undo a decision that you made, and then as the trade-off, you had to also undo a win that you had from the same period. So, for example, that machine that you mentioned, like buying that and spending 10 grand on it at the time.
Yeah.
Would that be the thing, or would it be something else?
I think I don't spend a lot of time thinking. What I've realised in this episode is I don't actually spend a lot of time thinking about some of the things that might have gone wrong. Because you're asking me about them, and I'm like, I can't even think back.
Do you write in a journal? Do you do any journaling or anything like that? You need to start doing that.
How the fuck am I going to get time to write in a journal? Honestly, are you kidding me?
Right, if I have the time to write in a journal, so do you.
Oh, here we go. Want to compare lives now, do you? There's no way right now I am writing in a journal.
Right, what do
I
you do?
I don't want to look back on some of that shit either. Do you know what I mean? I'm not interested.
You 100% could write in a journal. Just write a few lines. That's what I'm saying. Like, reflect.
No,
it's powerful shit.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it for a minute. I'd love to do a lot of things, mate. I'd love to read more books. I'd love to listen to more podcasts. I'd love to watch more YouTube videos. I'm very good at reading, thank you.
I'm not. I can barely read.
What would you? Yeah, I would. I would undo that one, but I wouldn't want. I would undo that decision. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't have rushed into it.
If I could only undo one business decision from the last 5 years, that is a really hard, because there's lots of mistakes I've made.
You reckon?
Yeah. Reckon, yeah, big time. I mean, do I focus
me on the spot now? I reckon I've made fucking loads, but putting me on the spot now, I'm staring at this screen thinking, I can't draw on one particular thing.
There's a ton. I think it's whether or not you focus it on things that have cost the business the most money, mistakes, or if you focus it on things that have had the biggest impact on you personally as a leader. Like having a go at something and it failing. Do you know what? I wouldn't undo anything. Even if I could, I wouldn't undo any failure.
Well, it's funny. So I was just about to say, like, when you were saying that, I was just sat here thinking. I was thinking, this whole thing we're on. I know it's very like, I don't know what the word is. I don't
philosophical.
Yeah, but you know, like we are on this like meandering journey, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it is that, and it is the person you are now, especially from running your small business, is a result of all those little decisions, all those tiny little decisions, all those big decisions, all those medium-sized decisions over the course of the time in which you've been trading, and that gets you to the point you are now. Without all of them in the past, you're not the person you are now, are you? And I know that sounds really, really, really hippie, but that is the fact, and that is the state of play. So when you're looking back over 5 years, there's things I think, oh yeah, I wish I'd have gone harder and faster there, or I wish I hadn't decided that, or I wish I had made the decision to operate that on my own, or whatever it might have been. But the reality, and me and Tom talk about all the time, we're like, God, thank God we didn't get into that little, remember when we were having that conversation with that person and we were going to do this? We've been asked to like hold some stock for someone and be like, and do this on a one-off basis and post for him. I'm thinking, thank the bloody Lord that never happened. Don't know for what reason it didn't. Don't know whether we decided, they decided, whatever. But all these things have kind of happened for a reason and have got us to the point they are today. And we need to operate how we are today and plan for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a few icebergs that I've avoided successfully, but there's also quite a few that I've ploughed straight into that I should have seen coming. But I don't think I would. I don't think I'd undo the journey that I've had. I think it's been a great journey, and I think there will be more icebergs that we hit along the way.
Yeah,
part of the journey, isn't it? Like that's part.
Even we spoke about it in the past, but your pre-pack and stuff, you'd have I mean, I can't imagine it. Don't get me wrong, and it must have been fucking hard.
Yeah, I mean, pre-packing a
business. Must have learned a shit ton if you can frame it in that particular way. You must have learned a lot about yourself, about the people around you, and what's important.
I wouldn't undo any of that. I think it was the best, some of my best work ever.
Amazing, isn't it?
Which is crazy to say, but
mental that.
Like that was like peak Matt. That was like I did some fucking elite level shit that year, which was incredible. And the way we came out of that period and the results we've had since then have been pretty insane. So
mental.
But you learn in the hard times. You don't learn when things are going great. You're not learning unless you are really pursuing growth personally.
Yeah, and trying hard and trying to find it and seek it.
Yeah. Like that trip down to Essex and going speaking to James Sinclair and speaking to a few different business owners and whatever. You've got to do shit like that because if you're not doing stuff like that, you ain't growing. If you're just doing your same boring shit every day, like you're not going to learn.
And another one of it is, if you don't innovate, you evaporate, don't you? Another classic of it.
Yeah, but some people don't fucking like Sinclair, but I think he's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So much fucking respect for him. He's just like he's on another level in terms of what he's done for other business owners as well. But
speaks an awful lot of truth as well with what he says.
Some people talk him down, and I think it comes from potentially their own inadequacy, if that makes sense.
Inadequacy, jealousy. Yeah,
I don't know.
That's why I said to you earlier when we were talking about the number of businesses that failed. I think how much of it is ethic, like your work ethic. How much of it is like personal choice? How much is it of expectation that because you've made the decision, it should be easy for you? Do you know what I mean? We always, like as human beings, feel like we're kind of owed something, and maybe we come across slightly like that when we're talking about government policy, legislation, etc. Maybe we come across a little bit like that, but you have got to put yourself forward, and you have got to work hard, and you have got to learn fast, and you have got to adapt, and you have got to grow, haven't you?
100%. Yeah.
If you want to succeed in it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where my question came earlier. Like, how much of it is like, expected it to be like handed to you? Look, because you've signed on the dotted line and opened up your limited company or started trading on your own, there's an expectation that things will be better for you now because you're not working for somebody else and they're not taking all the money. But it does not work like that. And that's why when you talk about like James Sinclair and stuff, you think fucking like risk level, crazy. Not shying away from it.
Yeah.
Keep driving forward.
I messaged him about some fucking family theme park in North Wales because I was there with the kids and I was looking and I asked one of the staff members, who owns this? And they were like, it's for sale at the moment. I was like, that's interesting. Found it online. Sent Sinclair a WhatsApp message saying, this is for sale. Looks pretty cool. Check it out. And he was like, I already put an offer in. It's been rejected. I was like, fucking the guy.
Like literally so far ahead of like even
Yeah.
You know, you're there in the moment. It's already been done. It's already
Yeah.
been
Now I'm
attempted.
obviously not actively looking for a business like
No.
that, but I was just like, he's on it.
Yes, Matt. Completely on it all the time.
Right. Should we leave it there, Charles?
Absolutely. Thanks for chatting, Matthew.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Bloody good to see you.
Hopefully people enjoyed that and they didn't tune out. I mean, I'm sure people did, but fuck them. See you on the next one.
See you later.